The year is 1177. Imagine this for a moment. You're standing in armor so battered the straps are prayer and wire holding it together, a black plume streaming from your helmet. Once your family's pride, now a mark every man recognizes. Your sword hand trembles, not from fear, from the weight of 200 brothers you buried 2 years ago because you made the wrong call. Behind you, 499 knights as broken and disgraced as you are. Men no commander wanted. Men given one last chance to die with honor. Before you, 26,000 of Islam's finest warriors darken the plains like an iron sea. That's 52 enemies for every sword you can raise. The mathematics of your execution are simple, brutal, and final. Yet in 3 hours, 20,000 of those warriors will be corpses. The greatest Muslim army assembled in a generation will cease to exist. A disgraced knight haunted by ghosts will execute what military textbooks said was mathematically impossible, what his own commanders called suicide, what even his faith seemed to forbid. Think about those numbers again. 500 against 26,000. The fate of Jerusalem, perhaps all of Christian civilization in the Holy Land, hangs by a thread so thin it's invisible. By sunset, that thread will become steel cable, and it will be soaked in blood. I'm about to reveal 3 things that will change how you see courage, redemption, and medieval warfare forever. First, the tactical genius hidden in a broken man's shame, how failure at one battle became the blueprint for impossible victory at another. Second, why a dying teenage king chose the one knight everyone else had given up on, and why that choice saved a kingdom. Third, the moment when a disgraced tactician with nothing left to lose stopped doubting himself, and 26,000 warriors learned what happens when broken men refuse to stay broken. But here's what the chronicles don't tell you about that November morning. Sir Gerard de Montfort wasn't supposed to be there, wasn't supposed to be alive even. 2 years earlier, at the Battle of Montgisard, his tactical error had sent 200 knights to their deaths, chased an enemy raiding party straight into an ambush, survived only because he was knocked unconscious and dragged from the field by men who should have left him there. The military orders stripped him of command, barely let him keep his armor. Other knights wouldn't meet his eyes. They had a name for him, whispered in barracks and taverns, the broken blade, a sword that shattered and was poorly mended, dangerous to everyone who touched it. By November 1177, Gerard was a ghost haunting Jerusalem's walls. Early 30s, but looked a decade older. His ornate family armor, once pristine, now dented and patched. That black plume on his helmet, his house's symbol, had become a warning. Here walks failure. Fresh scars crossing old ones on his face like a map of every wrong decision. He spent his nights maintaining equipment he had no right to wear, spent his days avoiding the knights whose brothers he'd killed. The weight of 200 dead men made his sword hand shake, not in battle, in sleep, in prayer. Always. He was planning to leave Jerusalem before Saladin arrived. Couldn't bear to fail again. Couldn't bear to watch another kingdom fall because of his cowardice. Then a dying 16-year-old boy with bandaged hands looked past the disgrace and saw something no one else could see. Sometimes the most broken weapons cut the deepest, and in 3 hours that broken blade would cut through history itself. 2 years earlier, Gerard de Montfort had been a rising star, commander of 200 knights, bearer of his family's ancient name and that proud black plume marking the de Montfort line. They'd given him a simple task: intercept a Muslim raiding party near the Litani River. All he had to do was catch them. He caught them, right where they wanted to be caught. The memory plays every night. 50 horsemen fleeing east, easy prey. Gerard ordered pursuit without waiting for support, without scouting ahead, without considering that 50 seemed too convenient. His knights thundered after them, black plumes streaming, certain of victory. The raiders led them into a narrow valley. Then the world exploded. 3,000 warriors had been waiting. Arrows fell like rain. The valley became a slaughterhouse. Gerard's knights died screaming his name, trapped between stone walls and steel. A mace caught him across the helmet. Everything went black. He woke 3 days later. 197 dead, 3 survived, 1 was him, the other 2 wished he hadn't. Now, November 1177, Gerard moved through Jerusalem like a ghost. He rises before dawn to avoid other nights at prayers. Takes meals alone, back to the wall, watching the door. Their whispers cut deeper than blades. The broken blade. The butcher of Marj Ayun. Dead man still breathing. His quarters, a cell barely large enough for a cot and armor stand. Every evening, the same ritual. Cleaning armor he has no right to wear, mending straps with shaking hands, polishing plate that will never be pristine again. The dents are permanent. Some things once broken, stay broken. His family's black plume sits atop the helmet, untouched by battle. He's reached for it 100 times, meaning to tear it off, burn it, bury it, with the honor it represents. But his hand always stops. Removing it means admitting what he knows, that he's not a de Montfort anymore, that he's nothing. The dead speak to him in darkness, not words, worse. He remembers their faces, every single one. Sir William's younger brother, who joked about visiting Constantinople, the Templar sergeant teaching lance technique that morning, the boy, barely 16, who'd asked for advice on earning his spurs. 200 names, 200 faces, 200 ghosts, riding alongside every breath. "I'm a tomb wearing armor," he whispers to the empty room. "The dead live in here with me." Tomorrow, scouts say Saladin's army approaches, 26,000 strong. Jerusalem's garrison can muster maybe 1,000. Every rational voice says flee. But Gerard won't, can't. Because running from this fight means admitting he's been running from Marj Ayun for 2 years. And broken blades don't choose how they shatter. They just cut everything they touch until someone throws them away. He touches the black plume one more time. Tomorrow might be that day. The first time Gerard sees Baldwin IV, the king is being carried into the council chamber on a litter, and Gerard thinks, that's a corpse. 16 years old. Physicians gave him months 3 years ago, leprosy eating him since childhood, hands wrapped in silk to keep flesh from falling apart, face hidden behind a silver mask, can't walk, can barely sit. Yet when those bandaged hands grip the armrests, the voice that emerges is strong, unbroken. "Gentlemen, Saladin approaches. The war council erupts. Raymond of Tripoli speaks what everyone's thinking. 26,000 confirmed. We have 4,000 who can hold a weapon." Gerard stands in shadows where disgraced knights belong. 26,000 against 4,000, real fighting force. Trained knights facing Mamluk cavalry, barely 500. The arithmetic is murder. Ascalon? Bypassed. He's coming straight for Jerusalem. Silence. Walls need men. They don't have men. Gerard watches Baldwin and sees something that twists his stomach. The dying boy isn't afraid. He's calculating. How long? 3 days. Gerard's mind races. Stay and die. Flee to the coast. No family left to shame. No brothers who'd mourn. The Marj Ayun dead wouldn't judge. He could leave tonight. "I will not abandon this city," Baldwin says. "I will not negotiate. We will fight." Raymond's face shows despair. "Sire, 6-1 odds. Yes, I can count." The masked face surveys the council. "I am 16. I have leprosy. I should be dead. Yet here I sit. God keeps us alive for reasons we don't understand until the moment demands it." Gerard feels those words like a blade. A boy who can't feel his hands, who wakes rotting, who has every excuse, choosing to fight. And Gerard, healthy, trained, capable, planning escape. "Prepare defences," Baldwin continues. "Recall every night. 3 days." He pauses. "God gave me this disease for a purpose. Perhaps this is it." The council disperses. Gerard lingers, watching them carry Baldwin out. The king's head turns slightly. For a heartbeat, Gerard thinks those eyes see straight through him, see the coward planning to run. That night, Gerard stands at Jerusalem's eastern gate, watching the road. His pack ready, armor cleaned, the black plume removed, wrapped in cloth. All he has to do is walk through. Instead, he stands as stars wheel overhead, thinking about a dying boy who can't walk giving orders to fight, thinking about 200 dead who'd call him coward, thinking what his father would say. Dawn breaks, gates haven't closed. Gerard unwraps the plume, fixes it back on his helmet. He doesn't know why, doesn't trust himself, doesn't believe they can win. But watching Baldwin carried from that chamber, barely able to lift his head, declaring he'll fight with a body falling apart. Something cracked. Let light through. Maybe shame cuts both ways. Maybe it cuts away the parts that want to run. The broken blade stays. The throne room fills with commanders like mourners at a funeral. Fresh intelligence, Saladin's vanguard 20 miles out. Raymond spreads maps with shaking hands. 500 knights, 3,000 infantry if we strip the walls, against 26,000. Everyone can divide. Baldwin is carried in, fresh staining on his bandages, laboured breathing behind the mask. Sire, Raymond's voice is careful. I counsel evacuation. Get you to Tyre. No. One word, final. I will not flee. I will not hand Saladin Jerusalem without blood. My lord, we face annihilation. Then we march, tomorrow, before he reaches the walls. The room explodes. Madness. Suicide. Baldwin lets them exhaust themselves. Odo. Can the Templars march tomorrow? Odo de Saint-Amand stands. We can, sire. Good. We have 12 hours before Saladin expects us to lock our gates. He's marching careless. Army scattered because he doesn't think we'll dare leave walls. Baldwin turns to each commander. I'm betting our lives he's wrong. Gerard's stomach drops. Offense. Against 26,000. Someone must command the vanguard. Someone who understands failure. Who won't make the same mistake twice. Gerard knows before Baldwin's eyes find him. Sir Gerard de Montfort will command the vanguard. Every head turns. The broken blade. That man. Sire, Raymond's voice is careful. Perhaps someone with more recent success. Gerard lost 200 because he was too confident. Tomorrow I need someone who knows what failure costs, who leads with caution born from catastrophe. The masked face stays fixed on Gerard. You lost 200. You will save 500. God breaks us to remake us stronger. Gerard can't breathe. Chosen. Trusted with lives. He walks forward. Kneels. My king, I am not worthy. At Marjun you learned what I need. Baldwin's hand rests on his head. Can't feel it. But the gesture stands. Until when, Sir Gerard? Gerard's throat closes. Until death, my king. No. Gerard looks up. Not until death. Until victory. Death is easy. Any fool can die. Call it honor. Victory requires you to live, to lead men through hell and bring them out. Baldwin's voice is quiet. Will you live for me? Every assumption about redemption through death cracks. Baldwin isn't offering a glorious end. He's demanding survival, success. I will try, my lord. You will succeed, because I believe in you. Belief is stronger than mathematics. Gerard bows his head, tears cutting tracks, metal on stone. Odo kneeling. If Gerard commands, Templars ride with him. Raymond kneels. If the king commands, I obey. One by one, commanders kneel. Not because they believe, Gerard sees it, but if a dying boy and broken knight can find courage, what excuse do they have? Baldwin's voice, barely a whisper. We march at dawn. Dawn breaks and Gerard leads 500 knights through Jerusalem's gate. The black plume streams. The weight of command settles like a familiar corpse. 500 lives trusting a man who killed 200. Hour 8. November. Heat brutal. Armour becomes furnace. Gerard's first command. Half rations of water. The choice feels like Marj Ayun, like another mistake beginning. Hour 10. First night collapses. Gerard calls halt. Water for the fallen. The others watch him choose. He chooses mercy. They leave the night to follow. Gerard doesn't look back. Hour 16. 3 more down. Heat like a hammer. Gerard's leg wound screams. The hard choices keep coming. Each decision echoes that valley. Hour 20. Baldwin begins convulsing. Near Ibelin, the litter shakes violently. Gerard helps Templars hold the boy down, bandaged hands clawing. The seizure lasts 2 minutes, feels like 20. When it passes, Baldwin's eyes focus, sharp. Gerard, the ravines, past Ibelin. You see them. Gerard studies terrain. Rolling plains. Seems flat. Then his tactical mind, dormant since Montgisard, suddenly ignites. Shallow ravines cutting through open ground. Invisible from distance. Death traps for fleeing cavalry. Natural killing zones, Baldwin whispers. When they run, herd them. Gerard stares at the tactical genius wrapped in rotting flesh. My lord, how... Studied maps. All I can do. Baldwin's hand tries to grip Gerard's arm. Fails. Trust yourself. See the field, like you used to. The words cut through 2 years of doubt. Gerard's mind races. Not spiraling. Racing. Calculating. If Saladin's scattered, if those ravines funnel retreat. For the first time since Montgisard, Gerard's tactical genius awakens. Hour 30. Scouts return. Saladin's 26,000 spread across 3 miles, foraging, relaxed. They think Jerusalem will wait. Gerard sees it, sees everything. Scattered formations, 3-mile gap, ravines waiting. His mind works like it used to. Before shame, the pieces fit. Impossible pieces, but they fit. We can win this, he whispers. Then louder. Positions. Templars front. Secular knights in waves. Infantry flanking when I signal. Sir William rides up. Brother died at Montgisard. You really think 500 against 26,000? One chance. Saladin scattered. Us formed. Gerard's voice is steady, strong. I won't repeat Montgisard. I learned. Hour 36. Final push. Men hallucinating. Horses collapsing mid-stride. But survivors keep moving. Because Gerard keeps them moving. They crest the final rise. Below, Saladin's vast army spread like a carpet, completely unprepared. Gerard raises his hand. 500 knights go silent. This is it. Everything he learned at Montgisard. Everything he lost there. Everything Baldwin saw. Everything he didn't see in himself. The ghosts of 200 dead men ride beside him. This time, he won't fail them. This time, he leads 500 into legend. 6 in the morning. Gerard studies Saladin's army through pre-dawn light. 26,000 spread like a caravan, not a war host. Tents scattered, cook fires everywhere. The tactical perfection makes his stomach twist, and he's terrified he's seeing patterns that aren't there. Like at Montgisard. 8 o'clock. He explains the plan to Baldwin. It defies every principle. We charge scattered forces who outnumber us 50 to 1. Funnel retreat into ravines they can't see. Pauses. But maybe it works. Baldwin's eyes focus. Mathematics or faith? Both. Mathematics to kill them. Faith to keep us alive. 10 o'clock. 3 miles away, Saladin's scouts report dust. The Sultan laughs. They're mad. 500 leaving Jerusalem's walls? Half the cavalry should be sufficient. Half measures against madmen. 11 o'clock. Crusader banners visible. War standards. The Golden Cross. The Templars. At centre, a single black plume. Saladin's laughter dies. All forces, reform lines now. But 3 miles is eternity when you're scattered and enemy is formed. Noon. Gerard rides before his 500, every eye measuring. Brothers, I'm Gerard de Montfort. 2 years ago I led 200 to their deaths. Arrogant, certain, didn't listen. Pauses. 200 died because I was too proud to doubt. Silence. Roar. Today I doubt everything, but I learned certainty kills. Doubt keeps you alive. His hand rests on sword. 500 against 26,000. Mathematics say we die, but mathematics don't account for overconfident enemies, for invisible ravines, for broken men who refuse to break again. Sir William raises sword first, for the broken blade who learned to cut true. The roar shakes ground. 12:30. They strap Baldwin to his warhorse, can't grip reins, can't feel saddle, can barely hold his head. But when bandaged hands rest on pommel, when that mask turns toward Gerard, something passes between them. You can do this. I'll try. That's all I ask. 1 o'clock. Gerard positions forces with surgical precision. Templars forming spear, 80 who've never retreated, secular knights in waves, 420 who trust a commander who doesn't trust himself. Infantry hidden on flanks, 3,000 waiting for his signal. Every position calculated, every angle measured, every escape route leading to invisible ravines. What Gerard was born to do. What Marj Ayun broke. What Baldwin's faith rebuilt. 1:30, final moment. Gerard sits his horse, black plume streaming. Before, Saladin's 26,000 scrambling to form lines. Behind, 500 men who've bet their lives on a broken blade cutting true. His hand trembles, not from fear, from weight of 200 ghosts who died because he was too certain, and 500 living who'll survive because he learned to doubt. He raises Baldwin's sword. Mathematics of annihilation meet mathematics of faith. Only one equation survives. 2 o'clock. Gerard raises Baldwin's sword, black plume snapping like a war banner. Templars! Form spear! 80 men surge into wedge formation. Behind them, 420 arrange in perfect waves. Every position Gerard calculated, every angle measured. 2:05. Walk forward! The charge begins. Not wild gallop. Controlled advance. Walk. Preserve horses. Make every yard count. 2:08. At 400 yards, sky goes black. Muslim arrows fall like locusts. Gerard's positioning, overlapping shields, angled approach, minimizes slaughter. Knights fall. Dozens, not hundreds. 2:10. Full gallop, earth shakes. 500 war horses at full charge sound like God's thunder. Muslim front ranks see death approaching and freeze. 500 charging 26,000 isn't warfare, it's suicide, except it's not stopping. 2:15. Impact. Mountains colliding. The Templar wedge hits half-formed center and 300 Mamluks cease to exist. Crushed. Transfixed. Trampled. The center isn't holding, it's shattering. Keep going. Drive through. 2:17. Gerard leads second wave into the gap. Black plume marks strike point. 420 follow that plume into hell. Muslim formation splits like wood under axe. 2:20. Gerard fights. Deadly poetry. Every move trained, refined through shame, perfected through doubt. Sword finds gaps, throats, vulnerable instants. Sir William's horse goes down. Gerard's blade deflects the killing blow. We're even for your brother. 2:25. Impossible. 500 pushing back 8,000. Physics don't work. But Muslim commanders watch their center buckle. These men don't fear death. These men are already dead. 2:30. Saladin's center breaks. 8,000 drifting backward like cracking dam. 2:32. Gerard's infantry surge from dead ground on both flanks. 3,000 appearing from nowhere. Muslim voices scream, "We're surrounded!" Panic spreads like fire. 2:35. Gerard herds them. What Baldwin saw, what ravines were for. Driving fleeing Muslims toward terrain they can't see is deadly. Ravines open like mouths. 2:45. Flight becomes massacre. Muslims pour into ravines, can't climb out. Bodies layer on bodies. Gerard watches and feels nothing. Just cold certainty this is what Marj Ayun taught. Control panic, control terrain, control killing, 3 o'clock. Saladin's guard, 2,000 elite Mamluks, breaks, runs. Gerard sees Saladin mounting racing camel, fleeing Cairo. Could pursue, could kill the greatest Muslim commander. Let him go. Control the ravines. Don't pursue beyond killing ground. Because Marj Ayun taught him. Know when to stop. Know when victory becomes trap. They obey. Even in fury of impossible victory, they obey the broken blade, who learned to cut true. Below, in 3 ravines, 20,000 lie dead or dying. Above, 500 covered in blood sit on dying horses and try to comprehend. Gerard's hand trembles on Baldwin's sword. Not from fear, from weight of being right. The broken blade just cut through history, and history will never forget. 3 o'clock. Killing continues. Gerard maintains control, not wild slaughter. Organized execution. Knights at ravine edges like shepherds at a pen. Muslims pour in, can't climb. Bodies pile, 20 feet deep. Systematic, industrial, 3:30. Gerard sees it. Victory tipping toward disaster. Templars chasing beyond killing ground. Blood drunk. Pursuing where scattered forces could regroup. Montgisard again. Recall. Some don't obey. Gerard spurs dying horse after them. Return. Don't throw away what we won. They turn. See the broken blade who learned when to stop. Paid for that lesson with 200 lives. They return. 3:45. Accounting. 20,000 Muslim dead. Obscene number. Ravines run red. Literal rivers where thousands drowned in dying. Crusader casualties. 1,100 from 3,500. Nothing compared to slaughter inflicted. Gerard processing mathematics of genocide. 1 crusader dead for 18 Muslims. Shouldn't have been possible. 4 o'clock. Horses give out en masse. Gerard's collapses. He hits ground, lies staring at sky. We won. God help us. We actually won. Words taste wrong. Victory shouldn't feel like this. 20,000 corpses create stench that will haunt this ground for years. 4:15. Someone shouts, Baldwin. Gerard runs, finds Baldwin collapsed. Templars supporting. The boy fought entire battle strapped to saddle. Couldn't grip reins, couldn't feel blades, fought anyway. Gerard drops to knees, gathers Baldwin's broken body, bandages soaked red, wounds reopened, face behind mask unrecognizable from agony. Did we win? Yes, my king. No, you won. I just believed. Something in Gerard shatters. He's been holding together. Through march, through doubt, through 20,000 deaths he orchestrated with surgical precision. Holding it because commanders don't break. Because the broken blade had to prove he was whole. But he's not whole. He's a killer. A genius who proved he can murder on scales that make Montgisard look like mercy. He herded Muslims like sheep, watched thousands die, felt nothing but cold satisfaction his calculations worked. What kind of man? He cradles Baldwin and weeps, first time since Montgisard. Not grief, not relief. Something between horror and release. Weight of 200 ghosts who taught him, weight of 500 who lived, weight of 20,000 he killed because he learned too well. I'm whole again, he whispers. God help me, I'm whole, and look what I'm capable of. Baldwin's hand rests on his head. Can't feel it, but the gesture stands. The broken blade cuts deepest, always has, always will. Around them, 500 blood-soaked killers stand silent, watching their commander break, watching the broken blade finally feel what it cost. Sun sets on Montgisard, history written in blood, and the man who wrote it weeps. 4:30. Silence worse than screaming. 500 scattered across 20,000 corpses, too exhausted to speak. Some sit in mud, others lean against dead horses. All stare at nothing. 3 miles away, Saladin reaches his remnant. Under 2,000 from 26,000. The racing camel saved his life, but destroyed his legend. The Sultan who fled. The invincible general who lost to 500. Here, Gerard watches Baldwin insist on the impossible. Help me to my knees. Templars argue, king can barely breathe. Should be dead. But Baldwin's voice carries command. I will lead prayer. They lift him, position him kneeling. Can't stay upright without support. Bandaged hands rest on thighs that can't feel. Mask hides agony, but words are clear. Non nobis domine, not to us, Lord. 500 blood-soaked killers drop to knees, on corpses, in blood, among stench they created, obscene, sacred, terrifying, beautiful. Non nobis, sed nomini tuo de gloriam, not to us, but to your name give glory. Gerard kneels, his prayer silent. I don't know if I'm redeemed or damned, don't know if I'm your instrument or warning, but I kept my promise. Please let it be enough. Sunset paints everything gold. Blood to copper, corpses to shadows, knights to statues. The beauty is wrong. Perfect. This is faith meeting mathematics. Belief becoming slaughter. Gerard feels everything. Pride he didn't fail. Horror at what success required. Relief his 500 survived. Wonder any of this happened. Gratitude mixing with revulsion. He's whole, but wholeness is a weapon. Around him, others process their storms. Some weep, some pray, others sit silent, minds gone. They expected to die, instead became legend. Legends built on corpses. Jerusalem erupts, bells ringing, streets celebrating. But the 500 sit quietly, can't celebrate. Because celebration requires not seeing 20,000 faces frozen in final screams. That night, Gerard visits Baldwin. Physicians say the king won't survive. Battles told too much, but Baldwin's eyes are lucid. Gerard, my king. Gerard kneels. What we did makes us gods. Baldwin's hand tries to find Gerard's face. Power of life and death on that scale, you wielded it perfectly. Gerard's throat closes. Stay human, Gerard. Urgency cuts through weakness. What we did makes us gods, but gods forget what it costs to be human, the guilt, the weight. Hand finds Gerard's cheek. Can't feel it, but knows it's there. Stay human. That's the only way to bear what you've become. Gerard bows head. Lets dying boy's hand rest. I'll try. That's all any of us can do. Breathing slows. Physicians rush forward. Gerard pushed aside, but Baldwin's words echo. Stay human. Where 500 can kill 20,000. Where broken blades cut through history. Where impossible mathematics become possible. Stay human. It's the hardest thing Gerard's ever been asked to do. Montgisard reshapes the world. Saladin's power cracks. Takes 10 years to rebuild what Gerard destroyed in 3 hours. Crusader states gain time bought in blood. Gerard reinstated. Commands Jerusalem's defences. Knights travel from Christendom to study under him. He teaches doctrine of the broken blade. Doubt breeds caution. Certainty breeds defeat. His manual studied 300 years. The real story is quieter. 2 broken men holding kingdom together. Baldwin continues impossible reign 8 years. Every morning a miracle. Gerard becomes friend. They sit together evenings talking about everything except war. Baldwin knows death is close. Defend what we built, not stones. The idea that broken things can be whole. Gerard kneels. Until death. No. Until it matters. Until the promise costs everything. I swear it. Baldwin dies at 24. Saladin says, I feared that boy more than any army. Without Baldwin, kingdom fractures. Gerard's advice ignored. Watches them make Marjayun's mistakes. Battle of Hattin. Saladin destroys Crusaders using Montgisard's lessons. Jerusalem surrounded. Gerard, 42, could leave. Could live. Instead walks out gates alone at dawn. Black plume on helmet. Baldwin's sword in hand. Saladin rides forward, recognizes plume. Dismounts in respect. Gerard de Montfort, the broken blade. Saladin, the sword who learned from breaking. Why are you here? I made a promise to a dying boy. I keep promises. They draw swords, not to kill, to honor. First blood. Saladin's blade nicks Gerard's arm. Both salute. You were worthy of his faith. You were worthy of being his enemy. Gerard walks back, goes to royal chamber where Baldwin died, lies on bed, holds Baldwin's sword, black plume beside him. Young knight finds him at sunset. Sir Gerard, eyes closing. Tell them the broken blade cut deepest after all, not because it was perfect, because it understood, breaking. Dies at 42, kept every promise, proven broken things deadliest. Taught 300 years that failure is finest teacher. Modern academies still study Montgisard. 500 defeated 26,000. Dying king and broken knight changed history. Mathematics met faith and lost. Both sides agree something supernatural occurred. How else explain exhausted horses outrunning fresh, dying boy outthinking history's greatest general? broken blade cutting through impossible odds. Gerard's final lesson. At Marj Ayun, I learned failure doesn't end you unless you let it. At Montgisard, I learned belief multiplies strength beyond calculation. Fear the commander who has failed and learned. I was broken. Breaking taught me. Use breaks as lessons, not tombstones. Ultimate truth. Sometimes courage counts more than counting. Sometimes the most broken blades cut deepest when reforged in fire of failure and tempered by will to try again. The black plume still rests on Gerard's tomb, a reminder that shame can become legend if you refuse to let it become your end.